because how you show up both internally, how you're dressed, comes through in your representation of your voice, regardless of whether the camera's on. Can you maybe expand on what your thoughts are on that topic?
Exactly. This is a good excuse, because people, I'm working from home and I don't need. But again, like for me, style and taking that time to take care of yourself, it's for me self-love and the self-respect. And I don't get ready because I have a Zoom call. I get ready because every Zoom call with me is important. And this is my attitude, right? Not because I have a Zoom call, but because every Zoom call with me is important.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nancy Michelle, and I am so excited today to be talking about your leadership style. And we're going to do it in a way that you're not used to. I have a good friend and coach, Juljana, with me today, and Juljana is going to introduce you to how your style really makes a difference in how you show up in the world. And as a leader, as a business owner or entrepreneur, this show and episode is for you. So welcome, Juljana. I am so excited to have you here today. Would you share just a little bit about yourself with everybody?
Sure. So, hi everyone, and I'm so happy to be here as well and to share my thoughts on leadership style. I love it so much. And my background, I'm a fashion stylist. I've been in business my whole life, but I have trained so many leaders, especially in the last 2 years when I've been living in New York City. And it's a topic that actually it is so much to say, and a lot of that, it seems simple, but understanding and applying it is what's going to make the difference. And so I'm happy to talk about that today.
Awesome. I'm really excited, and hopefully Juljana will give me a few coaching tips along the way so that you can see what it's like to receive coaching from Juljana and to help you excel in your career. Because tell me if I'm correct, Juljana, when you show up on the outside matched with the inside, you are able to be the best version of yourself. Is that correct?
It is. It is true. Everything that's going on the outside, it's a reflection of the inside and what's going on the inside. So, but in order for you to represent the best version of yourself or to be the leader that you want to be, it's like it starts with knowing who you are and where you want to get. Being very understanding yourself really, really good. And a lot of people think, myself including as well, think that we know ourselves so good, but we don't. And knowing yourself is really a lot of work, and it takes time to evolve over years, and especially investing in yourself and learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for me, one of the things that was a challenge when I started my career, I would show up as an engineer wearing kind of ripped jeans and a shirt and not really worry about it. And my husband at one point said to me, Nancy, if you want to move up in the corporation, you got to start looking and acting like the leader that you want to be. So I'm wondering, can you share with me an example of where do we start when we're trying to create that vision for ourselves?
Exactly, and you mentioned it. It's a vision. First, it starts with the vision, who you want to become, and what kind of leader do you want to become, creating that vision. And this is where the most work is involved and required to creating that vision. And then living that vision, it is so easy. It becomes so easy because you know exactly how you want to show up and how do you want to be perceived. And your leadership style, what's your leadership style as well? It's by creating that vision. And how do you create that vision though? We have to have role models, right? I would say that for all people that inspire to become leaders, it starts by being starting to be a good follower. You have to be an excellent follower, like really follow, be a great follower, because of this so you can become a great leader. Start for inspiration, the leaders that you love. What do you love about them, right? And I would give a simple exercise. Actually, pick three
Awesome.
of the most pick three of the people that inspires you in life, in your company, in business, whenever are these people, and write down their characteristics, personality, the way they show up, the way they talk, speak, walk, dress, the language they use, and what do you love, and write that down. And then see what do you love about them and why it is that you love about them, because it means that it is inside of you. It's something that you already have. That's why you are able to point that out to other people's. And you need to express that more. So that's why I write that down, traits of their personality, how much money they are earning, even that include that, their leadership style, how they communicate, how they do business, how they show up, and then create that vision for yourself based on this and say, okay, this is the kind of leader that I want to be. I want to inspire others. I want to show up in a certain way, and I want to be the best version of what I can be. And start and living that vision then.
I love that. I really love, especially that people can have like a simple exercise, right? Go find 3 people, 3 that really inspire you, 3 that, and then work through all of the details. And as you were saying it, right, I was thinking about who are 3 people, that inspire me and what is it about them. And I think for me, one of my big inspirations is Judi Dench. I just adore her. I love that she's just got that little bit of whimsical funny, right? But she can play those really cool, strong roles, right? As M in James Bond, right? And keeping him in line. And so when I see her just in her natural self, I see like an amazing, confident woman. So I'm going to actually do that later today. Is I'm going to spend more time and write down
when you are
those
there
pieces.
when you are there and doing that and thinking about the person that inspires you, then think yourself like in work, for example, in business or in your company, when you have difficulties, you have a problem. So think from how this person that inspires you, how this leader is going to solve this problem, because you are going to tap into their energy, into their way of thinking, right? Just by asking yourself that simple question, how would this leader that I'm inspired by would solve this problem? And this is an exercise that I do a lot with my clients as well when it comes to developing their own personal style. They are encourage them to find their style icons and then to ask themselves how, for example, Victoria Beckham will wear this dress. You enter into that spirit. This is the point of it.
Yeah, you start to embody that mind and behavior in the way you do it. Yeah, and in business, right? One of the things they say to business leaders is learn and follow the people that really inspire you, right? Not just in necessarily how you physically show up in clothing, but just how you show up as a person, how you make decisions, right? And aligning that. And one of the areas that I think is also important is like paying attention to your values and their values. Because when you show up from a values-based, then that really helps people understand, develop, in matching what it is that they like out there. What is it that resonates really well with them? Mm-hmm.
I would say, a thing that I want to add here is that I want to say and to emphasize that leaders are not born, they are made. And as I was saying before, it starts by becoming a great follower. You follow your leaders and, you do more of what is required from you to do, how you earn it, how to earn the way to the leadership, to become the leader. And then more than anything else, leadership for me is attitude. You have to have a certain attitude, and it starts with respecting yourself and how you show up for yourself, right? And grooming and the way that you present yourself is a representation of that as well, how you take care of yourself. And then I would say that to be a great leader, you have to lead yourself first. This is the most difficult part as well, because when it comes to doing tasks on time and doing sometimes putting ourselves, in projects that we can. It's like we have to discipline ourselves and to lead ourselves first, right? And then so you can better know how to lead others as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so one of the things when I work with people in communication and showing up to communicate better, right, I start with you have to take care of yourself first. You have to take care of your energy, your mindset, and your overall body language so that you can show up for the best, right? And if you don't start, as you said, leading yourself, what is it that I need to tell myself to do? And I think we can tell, right? We can tell when somebody's being fake, and we can tell when somebody is being honest and genuine and actually believing and following through with the words that they say, the way that they show up, right? Because it's one thing to be fake from the outside, right? And put on a costume. There's another thing to actually show up dressed and in the whole spirit of who you are. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, because it's so very important to be authentic. Being a leader, being authentic, not to be someone else at home and then someone else at the workspace, right? Or with these entrepreneurs, like I see a lot of people doing photo shoots for their branding and the way that they show up. But then on the days off, let's say, or so, when they are not glammed up, let's say, they are totally different. And being, for me, it starts off, it's a way of life, taking care of yourself. It is really, you have to make it a discipline, no matter what, no matter if you are meeting with someone today or not, if you are working from home or, it's self-care. For me, dressing up, it's self-care. And I'm not saying being glammed up, right? But choosing your outfits very carefully, it really is very, it makes a lot of difference. And I would say that who are the most paid people? Who are the leaders? Who are on the top that, that have the leading positions? The well-dressed people. You don't need to be someone that, knows a lot, but really having respect for yourself and knowing how to convey your messaging, it makes the whole difference.
Yeah, right. And your leadership becomes your brand, right? It becomes this recognizable statement of who you are and how the world sees you, how the business sees you. I get a lot of feedback lately from business owners, right, about young people showing up wearing kind of leggings and not looking it. But when they show up they're representing the brand of the business as well as the brand of themselves. I'm curious, what would you recommend to like a business owner who's trying to encourage or engage one of their staff members to show up as well, more professionally, more in line with their brand?
First of all, they have to be the example themselves, right? Because have you ever noticed when you have to go out with your girlfriends, for example, and some of them, they really have, appreciation of themselves and their style, and they will take that so seriously, and you want to match them. You will up-level your style, subconsciously without even knowing it, because you want to fit in as well with them. And this is the same when you as leader, for example, I do a lot of calls and with my team as well, and they will say, your background or the way that you look, I'm now going to dress up for myself or to do this. You have to be the person who embodied that, and then who have a style that it's all yours, right? Defining it, and then you have being well dressed and representing the company. It is credibility as well. It means credibility for me as well. So you have to communicate. These people have to communicate that with their teams, that the way that they show up, it is important.
Yeah, wonderful. And I love that, right? You've got to show up and represent who you are first, who you show up to be, who you intend to be, who you want to represent, so that others around you can have that same experience, can want to be part of that vision that your business is. So exactly. As an entrepreneur, as a leader, one of the things that I'm going to take a break and I'm going to check my dog for a second. Sorry, my husband just got up. He'll give the dogs a treat in a moment. The noise will disappear. And I'll be able to cut this little piece out. So I love this concept of how leaders represent their brand, how that trickles down to their staff. And one of the things that I also was thinking about that just occurred to me is in the last company that I worked for, it was interesting. As we stepped one of our staff up into a new management position, he all of a sudden started to dress the part, right? He showed up with a jacket every day. He stopped wearing just more casual clothes and actually was like, okay, I'm representing the company, right? I have to go out and present to different companies, different corporations. I need to represent being a leader, right? And stepping up into that position. And that was kind of, as I went back to the start, my husband was like, Nancy, if you want to become a leader in the oil and gas industry, if you want to move up the corporate ladder, right, you got to start looking and dressing the part. And so there was a lot of work going on, both in my mind, in my image, so that I can do that. Now, one of the things that I was thinking about as we were doing this, right, is that a lot of people now are online, are doing Zoom conversations, those types of things. And one of the things that I say is that you need to show up regardless of whether the camera is on or the camera isn't on, because how you show up both internally, how you're dressed, comes through in your representation of your voice, regardless of whether the camera is on. Can you maybe expand on what your thoughts are on that topic?
Exactly. This is a good excuse, because people, I'm working from home and I don't need. But again, like for me, style and taking that time to take care of yourself, it's for me self-love and the self-respect. And I don't get ready because I have a Zoom call. I get ready because every Zoom call with me is important. And this is my attitude, right? Not because I have a Zoom call, but because every Zoom call with me is important. So, and it's like, again, you don't need to be glammed up, but at least put some thoughts. And then what do you want to be your work from home style? Create a Pinterest board, gather images, again, get back to inspiration, get inspired. Who are the role models? Who are the people that you love and you like? And then make it a habit. Make it a habit. Style is a habit. Make it a habit. And like everything else, saying, I'm doing that for myself first. And then you will see it's like a ripple effect. You will see the effects of it, right? You will feel better about yourself. And what we all do on the days that we don't feel good, right? You take a hot shower and then you put on nice clothes, a little makeup, and you immediately start to feel better. It's like, it affects your, how you feel, right?
Yeah, it does, right? You walk past a mirror and you see yourself and you're like, hey, I look fine today, right? Or
yes.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
When you put these suits, right? They are called powerful suits because they make you walk in a certain way. You feel powerful, right? And empowered. So clothes really have power, and style is so important. But finding and defining your style is a process, and it evolves as you evolve as well. Again, you have to. There are people that dress the same way that they used to dress 10 years ago. Like, if you have invested so much in yourself, if you have, taking so much courses, classes, invested in yourself, learn your skills, you can dress the same as you used to dress, right? You have to represent now that vision that you want to accomplish, where you are going, and be it now.
Yes, so true. If we don't have that vision of our leadership, of the style of leader that we want to be, of that image, that presence, it shows up in everything we do, right? And it starts with paying attention internally, taking good self-care of ourselves, right?
Exactly.
Then showing up in the clothing that you're comfortable with. I have discovered that I absolutely love dresses, right? So I am constantly in dresses and high heels. And it's interesting because during COVID, when we would start to work from home, I still put a dress on every day. And people are like, what are you doing, Nancy? And I'm like, because my voice is so connected to how I feel, right? To my body language. It's interesting, right? It's that concept of people connect to first impressions really quickly, right? Before you say a word, right? And so your body and your image as well, over 90% of your communication, I think it's like 93% of your communication is through your body language and your image, right? And we want to be like, oh, we're not that superficial. But the reality is how we show up, how we dress, right? Our style literally shows up, and it comes through in our posture, right? The way we stand, the way we use our body in movement, and the clothing we wear, right? People trigger on that. And as you said, right, it doesn't need to be like Gucci and Prada and all of those things, but it is about, right, showing up dressed in the way that your mindset aligns with.
Exactly. And I would add to that people judge, we judge without, when you see a person in networking event, for example, you already have done the check, from the way that how they are dressed and how they look and how they behave and embody themselves. We already have formed an opinion about them. And this is where style is so important. It's like you as a leader, you have to get that power into your hands and dress in a way that conveys the message that you want to convey to others. Don't let that on the other people's hands to form an opinion about you, but you, with the way that you dress, how you show up, how you talk, how you walk, you are sending a message. And it's very easy to spot these people that they are leaders. They embody something and they have the attitude of a leader, right? You can spot them and you can tell them from how they carry themselves and be this person.
Yeah, right. And it comes through and determines that leadership style, that leadership brand of what you are representing, the impact, the influence that you want on an everyday perspective. I'm wondering, Juljana, and I know I didn't ask you this question off air, but about self-sabotage. Like, how do you see people self-sabotage themselves, and how does that show up in their leadership style and brand?
There are so many ways, and we are the best judges of ourselves, I would say. And especially for some that are perfectionists, like I am, like myself, it's very hard actually. But the thing is, again, when to go back to when I said that being a great leader starts with yourself and knowing how to lead yourself. There are ways that you will come up, your mind actually will come up with so many excuses and who you think you are to do that. You are not so qualified. There are better people than you are. You haven't earned that, and so many ways, right? For me, it is taking the time, acknowledging these thoughts and saying like, okay, where this thought is coming from, right? And I would write that down. And then I will ask myself, is that true? And I will start to look for evidences if they are true or not, right? And most of the time, these are not true. This is only our mind that tricks us to get us off track, right? Because when we go for things that we haven't done before, it's like we are out of our comfort zone. And our mind wants to protect us, to be in that box, in that comfort zone, right? That's why these creepy thoughts will come in. But the way is take the time, acknowledge them, and ask yourself, like, where is this coming from? like, what evidences do I have that I'm not good enough? And I would say, like, okay, there are others that might be better as I am in this task, but I'm giving the best of what I can, and I'll see. And as I do this, I will get better and better, right? And reframing the thoughts. And this is going to give, or at least it works for me and my clients, that confidence that you need in the beginning to interrupt these thoughts and then to do the tasks that you need and to push yourself. It's like, again, being a leader, it's a work, and it's evolving yourself and investing in yourself.
Yeah, lovely. I love that little simple thing about when you have these negative thoughts, because we all have them, right? Like, they all show up for us so often.
They are universal thoughts, and they are universal thoughts. And it's not that are my thoughts, right? And your thoughts, they are universal thoughts. And that's why it's so important to identify them. You first identify them, and when you are aware of them, then you have the power to change them, because they are just thoughts and you can change it.
Yeah, right? You can change your thoughts. And I really like that idea of finding evidence, right? Like, where's the evidence that proves this thought to be true or false? And the more you can find evidence to prove that it's false, these negative thoughts, the better you can do. And that's a great practice, I think, for people to do and create. I'm curious, Juliana, has there ever been a time where you questioned yourself, and what is kind of one of those areas that you can share and let everybody know, as coaches, right? We are not perfect, and we are learning this process as we go.
So, oh yes, many times, a lot of times. As I said in the beginning of this call, I've always built my own businesses and done my own thing, and having so many employees to have to direct them, it has felt so easy for me. But then when I got the idea to get into mentorship and to create my own programs and to show up and to talk, to create my own brand, let's say, this is where it has been so hard for me, really hard, because it is different building a business of itself, when the brand is the business, and then you yourself being the brand, right? So in the beginning for me, it was because English, it's not my first language, and it was so hard. And to press the button to go live, because you want to educate your audience, to give value, and that will take so much time, and I have to laugh with that, right? But the thing is that, and now here I am talking in this call with you and sharing my knowledge and what I know, without preparing anything, just showing up and having this casual chat interview, how you want to call it.
Right.
But it was so difficult. It felt so difficult for me back then. But I'm so glad I didn't let myself and stop and that fear or these thoughts, who am I, why people should listen from me, and I don't have, there are better, others better than I am, and so on. But I didn't. So I, as they say, do the things that you fear most, and then it's the most pleasure. I'm so happy to get to help my clients. They're all over the world, and then the feedback that I get from them. And I want to say that we are getting into this leader's role, because for me, everyone is a leader. And this is how you have to start and see yourself as a leader, but you have to have some standards for the way how you are leading yourself, your life, being a leader in your family as well, inspiring others and always doing your best of what you can. And your best is going to look different in different days, but at least at the end, that you give your best at that day. So it is very important to push through, and then to do the things that you don't feel comfortable of doing. And these are, for me, the great leaders, the leaders that that they earn it. It's
Right.
not given to them, but they earn it to go and do the things that don't feel so comfortable for you, because the rewards are amazing.
Yeah. And you chatted about how you went from owning a business, right, and that being the brand, to now stepping up and creating a brand of yourself online, on business. And I know that's where you want to go. And the reality is, as we, as leaders, as corporations, move into a more global world, one of the things that I'm hearing a lot over the last few weeks is leaders being able to be comfortable to stand up in front of the room and communicate their message out to their organizations, to their teams as well now, right? Getting really good at being a leader on camera. And those types of things, right, are such a change. It's one thing to be part of a small team and have that interaction, but as people move up the leadership ladder, as they move into managers, directors, VPs, executives, right, they really need to start to own their competence, their leadership style, their leadership brand in the way they show up. And that transition that you did from a business to being online, right, is very similar to a leader moving up the corporate ladder and now having to stand in front of bigger people. Or lots of times, right, leaders have to do media work. And to be able to show up is a full brand style, right? To be able to stand in front of a camera, whether it be on an interview, whether it be in a networking event, they put you on stage, or you're just talking to the local newspaper and they're going to take a photo of you, right? You, as you move up the organizational chain, become the person that everybody expects to see. And so if your style doesn't show up in the way you show up, then that's really going to have an impact on how the world, the community sees you. Because as you said, right, we judge first.
Yes. It's very important, again, to develop your own leadership style, where you are going to, the vision that you have, and people are going, and for me, leadership, it's a vision. People are going to follow you because of that vision, because they want, not because they are forced to. They will buy into that vision. And so you being the example. And another thing that I would say, it's like, try to leave everybody that you come in contact with the impression of increase. Let them better off that you find them. This is something that I have been using a lot in my life, and it is so amazing, right? Being in a conversation with people or with your teams, leave them with the impression of increase, like find things, motivate them, and encourage them. It's going to make a lot of difference.
Yeah, that's lovely. The increase the value of every person who you meet, right? Through your conversation, through your leadership style, through the way you show up. So I just want to kind of do a little bit of a recap on some of the things that I heard Juljana share with us, and she can edit and correct anything that I have missed. But one of the key topics that she said at the start, right, was pay attention to those who are leaders that you like, and really take time to get to know them from a detailed perspective. Pay attention to how they speak. How do they make decisions? How do they live? What is their behavior like both in and out of kind of the work environment? And what is the most authentic version of them? And use that to describe and create the vision of who you want to be. You also had talked about using Pinterest boards, right, to capture ideas and images that represent the image that you want to show. Because we make decisions on people more based on what they look like and how they show up from a confidence, a presence standpoint than the words that they actually say. And which is one thing as a communication coach I really hit on strongly. And then the last thing that you also said was when you have negative thoughts running through your mind, find evidence that is the opposite of that negative thought to show, because negative thoughts are very universal and we have them. But what you want to do is try and find evidence that proves the opposite of that, that reminds you so that you can choose a new thought, a better thought of who you would be. Juljana, is there any other tips that you would like to add before we close out this show?
I think I can go on and on this, but actually, like study again, going back to this, to the people, to the leaders that you love and you are inspired and empowered by them. Study them. Study the way they talk, walk, dress, show up. Study them and create your own version of it. Write down the characteristics of those people, and start to act in that way. You actually have to become actors to enter that role and to embody that now. And invest in your style, invest in yourself, always keep learning and growing. It is a never-ending process. It's not that now you raised, you get a better position in your company and that's it. No, keep growing, keep evolving, become the best version, because we people have so much potential that we haven't tapped into. So this is what leaders do. They never stop learning and growing.
Awesome. So, Juljana, if somebody was looking to find you, where's the best place for them to watch you, get to know you better, and see the upcoming activities that you have?
So they can check out my website, juljanahoxha.com, or they can come to my Instagram. It's Juljana Hoxha. So
all of these links will be in the show notes below, so feel free to connect. As well, for those of you who want to build a brand statement to start that kind of concept, click the link below. I have a free tool on how to build your leadership brand statement so that you can create that professional message and those words and those language to say, this is who I am, and that you are growing into, so that when you show up in a meeting with a bunch of strangers, you can say, this is who I am and what I represent. So while that is the words, what Juljana teaches you is how to put that whole package together so that you really show up with that confidence, that incredible image of that leadership style that you are growing into, that you are becoming, and that you are developing over your entire life. I want to thank Juljana for joining me today. It's been such an amazing conversation. I hope this was really helpful for you. My name is Nancy Micheli. I am a leadership communication coach, and I am here to help you move up the corporate ladder and build winning teams one conversation at a time. Thank you, and have an awesome day.